Hi guys, welcome back to Hairdryer Treatment. I don't know what to say about that really, but obviously I'm joined by my dad. Wolves game's just finished. Joined by Meg as well. I'll start with you, Meg. How you doing?
I'm in a happy camp right now. I'm in the happy house. How are you two doing?
I'm great. I'm great. I don't know about my dad. I mean, after that, how are you feeling after that, Dad?
Gutted. We deserved the point all day. That just sums up this season. Wolves sums us up. Injuries, the key moments. Everybody could say we lacked something up front, but I'll trust the manager. He'll get it right. Come January, we'll see what happens. And like I say, I think we'll be fine. Wolves.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jimenez, you can see that you're lacking. Wolves, I think, look, when Wolves are most dangerous is when we kind of went at them and they opened up a little bit, and on the counter attack, you could see that was their plan all along. They were going to try and hit us on the counter, like of Adama, Neto, even Podence coming on. But I felt like there's a few crosses into the box, and I didn't feel like troubled by that. I mean, Meg, obviously you play centre back. I didn't feel like Wolves could trouble us really with those balls into the box. Did you think that as well?
No, so I think when you look at the Wolves team at the moment, clearly your defence is the strongest point. And up until the goal, you kept a solid shape at the back. You didn't really give us anything. We were trying to play long balls, but up front, it was just. I've used this word a lot recently for teams that have played against Manchester United, and in front of goal, it's been quite tame. Now, I'd also like to say that I think the back line of Manchester United, particularly Bayer, did really well at defending, but I also just think Wolves, there's just nothing up there at the moment. It doesn't seem to click. I think in January it'll be really important for Wolves to go out and probably find somebody like a target player.
I will say that I thought we absolutely controlled the midfield. I thought Martinez and Neves was quality tonight. But I said to Soph before the game now, I was over the moon when Pogba was playing. Because I think Martinez has got Pogba in his pocket. Last 4 games, Martinez with Pogba, he's obviously nothing.
What do you think, Meg? What's your thoughts on Pogba tonight? Do you think that he played well? I mean, you're a big Pogba fan, so I'm throwing it at you, but how would you sum up his performance tonight?
I mean, he was missing for a long period of that game. I think after about 60 minutes, he started to kind of get into it a little bit more. He had that one shot from the edge of the box. He had a couple of balls. He tried to play one. It's as if he knows that someone was going to be on the end. I don't know who played it into Pogba. I think Rashford played it into Pogba and then moved straight off. And he kind of tried to clip it. It was too direct. It needs to go a little bit further away from the goalkeeper. But he was missing for the first 60 minutes. And you can't go missing in games like this. Wolves make it very difficult.
Do you think he was missing, or do you think our midfield just took him out of the game?
Yeah, I think Wolves made it very difficult for him to be a part of the game. I feel like in that whole middle section, it was too slow. He couldn't really get anywhere. He wasn't really sharp with little movements to create a little bit of space. But that's probably down to the fact that the Wolves players blocked it, really. They killed the space. They sat as a solid unit in terms of defending, not just a back back 5, but the ones in front of them as well.
Alex, thank you so much for the super chat. It says, get in. As a Man United fan, I'm always buzzing about winning that at the depth. Such a classic Man United way of winning a game. Wolves lack a threat up front without Jimenez and need to buy a striker in January. I mean, we were talking about that, Dad, about the players that Wolves have been linked with. Diego Costa was one of them players. Hulk, I think, on loan was another one you mentioned. It's obvious, isn't it? That's where they need to invest.
Yeah. I don't think... I'd like Diego Costa, but I can't see Wolves. If you look at the Wolves team tonight, if you look on paper, the average age,
young,
it's 20, 21, 22. I can't see Wolves paying 20-odd, well, 32-year-olds. I can't see us going for that.
Yeah.
Do you think it would bring some experience, though, to the younger players? Like having that character in the dressing room as well, he's a winner. Would it
but is it the right character in the dressing room? Because he seems to me like he's like a bad apple, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's what you say about Nuno as well. He has got like Wolves, a spirited team. They seem to have like a good gel team, don't they? Likes Connor Cody, good leadership at the back. You're just lacking that goal scorer up front, and I think that's shown tonight. I'll be honest, I did not think. I thought we had 0-0 written all over it. I didn't see us getting that winner at the end. So I was kind of. Someone said in the chat, I wonder what Soph's face was like when we scored. I was in shock. I was in disbelief. Like, I didn't see it coming. It seemed to come from nowhere. It was unlucky on Soyis that deflection happened.
Best plan the pitch, Soyis.
He did play well.
Pitch tonight.
You got man of the match.
I agree with that.
He
gave us nothing except for the goal, bless him, right at the death.
I thought we played some great football in tight areas really tonight. Wolves kept the ball really well.
For such a young team as well, I think he did play out from the back well.
I thought we played one-touch football, some good stuff. I mean, United had got a chances first half. I thought we had as many chances as United, though. We didn't sit back.
I was going to say, originally I thought, I was looking at the whole, I thought you actually defended really well, and perhaps were you coming to defend almost? Were you coming to make it difficult for us? But if you look at it, actually, you created chances as well. I don't know who had the shot, and I can't think now, but De Gea made a fabulous save.
So you had a few efforts.
End of the first.
Wolves definitely had opportunities, but it was.
So
it wasn't exactly the most entertaining of games.
No, it wasn't. I mean, you mentioned Traore there. A lot of United fans.
Traore kills us.
To be fair, a lot of United fans in the chat were saying like, "Oh, we want Traore, Adama Traore, so we should get. If we can't get Sancho, we get Traore." And I was saying, wasn't I? Like, I watch a lot of Wolves, obviously, with my dad, and it does seem to. It's frustrating to watch, isn't he?
If you ask most Wolves fans now, they'd say cash in, because he absolutely kills you. He'll do one good thing in each half, which can get you a goal, but he'll lose the ball 9 times out of 10.
He is frustrating.
To me, I'd cash him in. I'd have money straight away.
which is bad, because so many people were raving about him this time last year, during last season. They thought he was going to kick on, and he can get you so far up the pitch, but then there's just nothing to come of it.
He's got one trick, and that's it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think tonight, United players, Meg, standout performers, who would you say? I mean, Rashford obviously got the goal. I thought Rashford looked like a threat, but frustrating at times. I thought Matic did well in the middle, if I'm honest. I thought Luke Shaw looked decent when he came on as well. A lot of people won't like to hear that, but I thought he did well when he came on. And obviously, De Gea made a lot of good saves as well. But who was your standout player for tonight for us?
I'm actually going to go with Bailly. I think that he was just really tidy in defence.
Now you're reading my mind, because I was saying.
Yeah, Bailly was great, wasn't he? We were talking about Bailly, like my dad was saying, like he's always got a mistake in him, for example. But I said his pace a lot of the time gets him out of that trouble, and we missed that pace at the back. And tonight, I think
I watched a lot of United, and Bailly, if he starts a game well, he has a good game. If he starts off a little bit not switched on, he seems to have not a bad game. He has a mare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no in between. There's no just an average game. It's either a good game or a bad game.
There was a point where Wolves were going through, and it was 2-on-2, and Bailly's positioning was slightly towards Harry Maguire. And as he went to play it, he just opened his body and stepped one. It was almost like one step across, and he just killed the ball out. And we've looked at Manchester United over the course of this season, and we've said like players are too far over, and it leaves the player at the back post. But Bailly was close enough to kill a problem if he got past Maguire. But he was also, like I said, he just literally opened his body up, and he took one step out, and he killed the ball through the middle.
Yeah,
I just seen one of the chats. If we'd like to buy in January, it's a done deal. Ronaldo's coming.
Well, I don't adamant that's the also.
Ronaldo's coming. We've already got the shirts made for him.
I tell you what, you wear that shirt. Matt, thank you so much for the super chat. That's really kind. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the game. I mean, Meg, like you say, it was a bit of a dull game. We've got the win. I'm not saying we are champions or with that material, but they say that the best teams get 3 points on games where they're not playing so well. We've done that tonight. It's a good 3 points at the end of the day, isn't it? But the performance definitely wasn't up to scratch, was it? Don't you?
No, I don't think it's that going.
From a United point of view, I find it frustrating, and it's probably because Wolves defended so well.
I just think, honestly, it was on a knife edge. I thought for a good 90 minutes, the game was on a knife edge. It was either one good thing by a centre forward or a mistake. I thought it was some good football play from both teams.
What do you think, mate?
I have to say it was frustrating to watch because I felt like, especially first half, it was so drab. It was just like you walk in, there was just nothing really being offered. It was so slow, and I was just like, why have we not? You know, if a team gonna sit back, you've got to keep the ball moving. You've got to slide them across the pitch. You've got to move them back, especially when there's 5 of them. And you need to keep them. You need to come short so you can create space somewhere. It was so slow that I thought we were still warming up at one point. But afterwards, I just think during the second half, like you said, when we kind of attacked and we lost the ball and we opened up a little bit, they could have pushed on a little bit more and created up more opportunities. But in the end, we got the one goal that we needed. And I think when you want to win titles, you have to find a way to win. And you have to keep going, especially against Wolves. They said that on the telly that the last 3 goals they've scored have come in the last 5 minutes. Yeah. My heart was in my mouth for the last 5 minutes. As soon as they said that, I thought, not another one against us. But it was us that went and got it.
Yep, I agree. Alex, thank you so much for another super chat. He says, Maguire looks more assured playing with Boye. Boye's pace alongside Maguire makes it a better balanced partnership. Matic and Boye were good today. Completely agree with that again. Thank you so much for the super chat. I agree. I think Boye, we've already said it, Meg, that we think Maguire needs pace alongside him. Boye gives that. But the question is, though, can you keep him fit, isn't it? Because we've seen so often that Boye, he shows, we know how good he is, but he just gets injured all the time. And I think for him, it's getting a run of games. And like you said, that I think he's a bit of a confidence player as well. If he does start off a game and he has a dodgy touch or whatever, it does seem to affect him, doesn't it?
I think the worst game I've seen Boye play, I think it was in Europe when he had Ashley Young in front of him. Shoot, I think but Ashley Young never gave him any cover.
Yeah,
I don't know who it was. He was playing now, and I think he come off at half time, or he wanted to come off or something like that. Yeah, he was getting told, but that was because of Ashley Young. That was.
Yeah, Malk from Kidderminster Harriers. He said, "Is it slow the pace, especially at United, because of the lack of crowds? Do you think that impacts it? Do you think that the lack of crowds impacts the tempo of the games?"
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm guessing Malk's gutted, by the way, because he's another Wolves fan. So I'm just going to add that.
Just dropping all the names of the Wolves fans that you know right now.
Yeah, Mal, super, mate. We got some injuries. You want to get back down the Wolves and start doing something?
It's true. But I mean, in terms of United, Dad, obviously a lot of people will say that we're title contenders and all that. I don't want to get sucked into that because I don't think we are. But you'd have to class us as that at the minute. We're 2 points off now.
Winning's an habit. Keep winning. You never know. If anything, I mean, I want Man United to win the league. I do. Myself personally. I want Wolves to win the league. Well, Wolves never win the league, so I want Man United to win the league.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you now, I don't think there's much difference between Wolves and Man United. There's not a big gap. There's not a massive.
It'll be very interesting because we've got Wolves at the very end, the last game of the season. I'm now sitting there after that game thinking, I hope that game doesn't, like how last season we had to get a point to secure top 4. I don't want anything resting on that game.
Well, I had a bet last year, 20 quid with my mate, that we'd finish above Man United. And it's until the last 3 games of the season where I lost it. And that was only because we conceded a last-minute penalty to Burnley. Otherwise, we was 1 point behind you before the 3 games from the end of last season.
It's an interesting one. I'm in Villa. We've got Villa next.
Villa are playing well.
The Villa are in good form. Well. Do you think that we'll beat them, though? Because that's a massive game for us. That's another massive game. There's no easy game in the Premier League.
Where are you? It's home all the way.
Oh, actually, are we away, Meg? We're at home. I've got a feeling we're at home. Let me know.
I think we're at home. I think our next away game is the Liverpool game.
I think we're at home for the next 2. So we've got Wolves and then Villa at home.
There's no easy games in the Premiership. There's no easy games against anybody. On the day, anybody can turn anybody over. That's what I like about the league this season, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
It's not like Liverpool like last year. Liverpool was outstanding. They stood out a mile.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting if Liverpool had their injuries, what they have got, to see where they'd be.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. We're at home, so it's at Old Trafford. But our home form hasn't been the best. I mean, obviously, we're home tonight and we're scraped to win, but the performance wasn't at it again. Just wasn't. But I think that, again, you credit Wolves as well for the way that they played. I was going to say, I think credit where it's due. I mean, Ashley says they're free Donny. Meg, what's your take on Donny? I really wanted him to come on tonight.
I think the game wasn't. It's such a tight game, isn't it? Tonight, than to start messing to have quite. I know we used 3 subs at the end. I presume that one at half time was more so to do with injury. The one at the very end was more to do with time wasting. So really, had we not made one at half time, I don't think we'd have seen, and we'd only seen 2 subs anyway. I think it was a really tight game to start messing about with the team. I'd like to see more of him. I think everybody wants to see more of him. There's got to be some reason why we're not. Do I think that Ollie knows his best midfield? No, because I think we didn't see Fred tonight. And the way that we've raved on about Fred recently, why wasn't he playing? So I expect to see more of him, but I just don't know when.
Meg, do you think, myself personally, I said this to Sophie earlier on, Van der Beek, is it? Yeah. He's not playing at the moment is because they're playing Pogba because to keep his price tag up because he's gone in January.
Do you think he's going in January?
I think he's going in January. I think Pogba's gone, myself personally. And I think he should have gone 2 years ago. I think they're playing him now to keep his price tag up. And then Van der Beek. Since Van der Beek went to sign for Man United to sit on the bench, he's been told something. And I think Van der Beek, when Pogba goes, Van der Beek will come in.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I don't think Pogba will go in January, but
in the summer, he'll be gone in January.
I think the summer is when it will happen. But
if he goes in the summer, they're going to get £20 million less. And it don't matter what you say about football teams, right? It's a business. It's a business.
Thoughts on that, Meg?
I'll be sad to see him go when he goes. I feel like it's coming towards an end. I feel like there's so many rumours that have been floating around for a few seasons. I don't think it'll be January. I do think we'll hold out until summer if he does go. But there seems to be some reason why Van der Beek just isn't in favour. I don't know what Ollie sees in training, because from what I've seen, you think he's good enough to start.
Yeah,
I think he's good enough to start. It gives you a lot more than Pogba.
I think for me, it's like there is a lot of competition in that midfield, and it is a bit of a headache for Ollie, which is a good thing, as you mentioned. But I also question whether it was an Ollie signing, Van der Beek coming in, or was it a club signing because Van der Sar's got good links with the club.
They're not going to spend that kind of money.
We've seen worse. They're not
going to spend that kind of money now. I think he's been bought in to replace Pogba.
He would fit, I think, in that type of role.
And Pogba's playing at the moment because January window. If he's sitting on the bench, they're not going to get the money what they want for him.
Yeah, true. And like you say, it is a business. So taking on Pogba in January and spend the money on a centre back, says in Dawn. What do you think about that? Do you think we need a centre back? You've looked at Boy today. You know we've got Lindelof. You know we've got Maguire. Do you think we need a centre back?
No, you got Phil Jones. Myself personally, you look at Chelsea, they're right back.
James,
quality. Man City, decent right back. Liverpool, decent right back. Wan-Bissaka is a great one-on-one defender, but on the ball, he was probably our best player.
You know what? Frustrating me so much because we had nothing on that right going forward to Wan-Bissaka.
But don't wrong. The one-on-one defending wise, there's not many players beating.
That's definitely his best aspect of the game, isn't it? Like when he squares an attacker up, I feel like there was just no point even trying to. If he kicks it past him, I feel like Wan-Bissaka's always got he just springs like a leg. It's just like Mr. Extendable. He just like nips it off them. But going forward tonight, there was one point where he looked like he should have crossed it, and he said he just passed it to Pogba. It was almost like he knew not to cross it.
But he can't. I'll be honest, he can't. Like, we spoke about him, 2 weeks ago? I raised his name. I said, this is one player I want to touch on because no one seems to talk about it, but he's so frustrating on the ball. And it really is. He looks like he's playing on ice or on stilts or something going forwards with the ball. Like, he looks so unnatural. It's unbelievable.
I mean, tonight, looking at Wolves tonight, how many times we had chances to put the ball in the box? And
We've got nothing in there.
We've got nothing in there.
Yeah.
But that's the stage where we're at the moment. I mean, we're paying £35 million for an 18, 19-year-old kid for the future. And I think that's the way to go forward. Some Wolves fans can't see this. They want it now. It's not going to happen now. You know what I mean? It's a stepping stone.
It's like a project, isn't it? Wolves at the minute.
We had a 5-6 year project, and they're probably a season in front of that project.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's hard to argue. I think Nuno's doing a great job. I can't see why Wolves fans are getting so frustrated, to be honest. I don't know what the expectations are, but I suppose last season was such a good season. Kind of want to build on from that, isn't it? And I think that's where it comes from.
I mean, most of these Wolves players have played a full season. I mean, a full year, not a season, a full season. They played 12 months.
Yeah.
Like the UEFA League, how far we went in that.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Man United was there as well, but they got a bigger squad.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's doing a good job. And you know what? Today would have been a good point for Wolves. But like you say, I think it's kind of the result and the way that it happened kind of sums up where Wolves are at the minute, like toothless going forwards. Haven't got that cutting edge. I mean, how good Jimenez is, and I think it just shows how valuable he is to Wolves at the minute.
I think we've got one of the best managers in the league, myself personally. I think he's absolutely quality. Meg,
what's your thoughts on Nuno? Do you rate him?
I hate to admit that I do. I do think he just seems to be that kind. He seems to have a balance between managing and coaching. Like, I feel like he probably is a very good coach, but he's also got that balance of man management, knowing his players, knowing what he wants in terms of like a direction for the club. He knows how, in terms of the style of play, which players he wants to bring in, but actually to get them to play that way together as well. So yeah, I think he's. I rate him probably. Yeah,
he is good.
I just don't like to admit it.
I was saying big up to Doug. Doug is in the chat. He's at work at the minute, bless him. But thanks for tuning in, Doug. I appreciate it. A huge win for us. Completely agree with that. And as always, like, share, and subscribe to Hairdry Treatment to say. So please do that, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. Dad's going to shoot in a minute, aren't you?
But that's Doug. Which Tesco's did you work at?
You're going to ask him that. You're going to go and turn up and be like,
no, because I've probably worked there. I was probably there last week. Up in Scotland.
I'm not sure he put it in the chat, but I'm sure Doug will let me know, definitely. But Dad, in terms of United this season, what do you think is a realistic expectation for us United fans? Where do you see us finishing?
I think we'll finish in the top four. I just say Liverpool win the league, and that's gutted me. I think Man City will finish second, and I think
that's an interesting one. Bearing in mind where they are.
And
right now.
Yeah, I'll finish second. And I think it's going to be between United and Leicester, who finish third and fourth. Myself personally.
What about Chelsea, Spurs?
I think Chelsea are going to die off. Spurs in top six. Arsenal will be, I'd say, between 8th and 10th. That's myself. I think
that's realistic from where they are now.
I hate to say it, but I think the Villa will be round about the 6th or 7th mark. We'll finish about 10th. We will, Wolves, and I still think that's a good season.
James here said selling Jota is a blow. I mean, we spoke about Jota earlier. Do you think it is a big blow to Wolves? Do you think it makes much difference now?
I think Jota gone a little bit stale at Wolves, myself personally. I think it was a great deal for us and a great deal for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Time will tell. If Jota's still doing the same in 12 months' time, then you say, we should have sold him or whatever. But sometimes players' heads have turned, and once heads have turned, that's it, really.
Yeah, I said to make ages ago, Jota, I would take him at United. I think he was such a
he's
special talent.
Jota, when he's on his form and he's running with pace at the ball at players, he's one of these players. We've all played football. You're still playing football. The hardest thing he's having the ball, running past the defender. He knows he's going to come sliding in. He's not scared to get crunched.
Yeah.
Jota, he's not scared of that tackle coming in, and that's a big thing that is in football.
Yeah, I agree with that. He says he works at Collington Mains Drive.
Collington, that's by the
He knows all the
that's
supermarkets.
that's by the army base, if I'm right.
I'm sure he'll get back to us on that one.
Road or something like that. Or
We've got a Villa fan in the chat, and he says you're a legend. He says he loves how people actually think that we're going to do better. I think Villa look good this season. I think Barkley getting back is important for them because Barkley and Grealish link up. I think it has been impressive so far. But Meg, I mean, Dad thinks we're going to get top 4 after that performance tonight. Can you honestly think? Do you think that we're going to get that?
100%. 100%.
No.
And
Okay.
I feel like
you had a lot of game last year.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like, obviously, we're not trying to entertain the conversation about us winning the league. However, the fact of where we are right now, we've put ourselves in contention. We have to play Liverpool twice still. It's very much not in our hands. Well, it is in our hands because if you've got to play the person who is with you twice and you can catch them within the game in hand that we have.
Yeah.
We have to perform against Liverpool, and I'm not saying we have to go out there and play the most fancy football, but we have to go and perform to get a result. And then you do your job in every other game that you're meant to be doing anyway. But obviously, those 2 Liverpool games are going to be huge. I think we've just got to keep our nerve, which sometimes worries me because we know that sometimes we can't keep our nerve. But it is in our hands.
I agree. And you know what? It was a scrappy goal. We got a 1-0 win, but we kept a clean sheet tonight. You mentioned Wolves score goals late on. I thought on the whole, we defended well in defence. We mentioned it in our last stream, Meg. We're conceding goals and we're not taking our chances going forward, which is a recipe for disaster. But I felt we defended well tonight.
Yeah, I think the worry, a little bit worried about Tellez at half time, with him going off. But we said the other day about our hand has almost been forced with Lindelof being injured to play by Maguire. And for me, the pair of them seeming a little bit more settled now after the last couple of games. And Wan-Bissaka's obviously come back in again tonight. We talked about him not going forward very well, but actually his defensive prowess is so good. Dare I say that we looked quite settled at the back at the moment.
Yeah. Doug agrees. Said but by the army base. I've just seen that one pop up. Thank you so much to Twisted for the super chat. He says Sophie Boyd had a point after lockdown. He deserves it after that unlucky loss.
Stephen, I mean, we can red can. With gold and black.
Well, what can I say is meant to be. Well, Wolves, you said Wolves are going to finish around 10th.
Yeah.
Do you think that boy and a striker impacts that? Like, it depends, doesn't it, on the business that you do, I suppose.
The quality of what we've got. I mean, Martinho could get him. I said, you should have bought Martinho 2 years ago, Man United. Martinho was absolutely quality.
He was linked to Spurs, wasn't he, as well?
He could have signed, that was 6-7 years ago. He was signing for Spurs. I mean, he's the second most cap player in Portuguese history at the moment. He's only behind Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That tells you everything about the bloke. And you've got Neves. Cody's quality, I think, at the back. Cody's great on the ball. He's not the best defender, but he's quality on the ball. And we get centre forward. And you never know, we could go on a run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The team's going to run after Christmas, January. You know, we could be fighting for top 4. It's all ifs. It's all ifs.
I think it depends on the business you make, and like you said, people being fit, doesn't it?
I must admit, I was pleased the way we played against Tottenham, for the way we moved the ball, and I was pleased the way we moved the ball tonight. I thought in tight little areas, in centre midfield, close, we kept it and we'd come out. I thought it was really, really some good players, young players as well. The future's bright at Wolves.
I'd agree with that. I mean, I asked you earlier, but I'm going to ask you again just in front of the camera. If you could have one player from United, who would you choose and why? At Wolves.
What did I say? I can't remember what I said now.
So before you said Rashford.
Probably would be Rashford.
Or Bruno.
You have to be Bruno, wouldn't it? Because he's got
Portuguese.
his best mates in there, are they? Wolves.
True.
We've got the link up already.
Hey, Martinho's his dad.
So actually, in a very good point, he said we should have had a penalty too. What's your thoughts on that Cody penalty? Because you thought it was going to be given, didn't you?
I thought it was going to be given. Personally, I didn't think it was a penalty, but they seem to be given this time.
Yeah.
VAR seem to be given. So if it had been given,
I think it's ludicrous that we're sat here saying it should have probably been a penalty, because I feel like, especially when VAR plays everything in slow motion.
It wasn't in an unnatural position, and I think that's what. I mean, I was saying.
So much worse.
I was a bit frustrated, but I was thinking, why is the ref not looked at the monitor to overrule this? He just said no. But it wasn't an unnatural position, was it? I think it would have been harsh, but like Dad said, I think.
And it also come off another defender before it went to him. It wasn't direct on the header.
Yeah, true. He hit another player and then hit him, so he couldn't really deviate, didn't it? But I mean, I'm just glad we got a win. I literally feel like after that game, I feel a bit numb. Like I wasn't expecting it, but I'll take it. Of course I will. Rashford again. I don't know if he's going to be given the goal, but if he is, then that's another goal for Marcus Rashford. And I think going forwards, I know he was offside a few times and stuff like that, but I think Rashford was probably one of our brightest sparks tonight going forwards. Would you agree with that? He
was the only one who looked like he was going to. His movement was quite good, to truth, but he was any Man United player that looked like he had a bit of urgency in him.
Some of the runs weren't in time, but the fact that he was making those runs into the space behind, had some of the balls been a little bit better as well, and like I said, it had timed better, he could have been put through a number of times. He was offside in the first half, but he went through. The flag goes up so late now, you don't even know if they're going to be onside or offside. And the touch with the outside of his boot kind of just fell into his path. The ball, it was in the first half, the ball came over and he touched it with the outside of his left boot, and he just fed himself into this path. Beautiful.
Yeah, and Bruno involved again. He does nothing for the majority of the game, but then he still has an influence on the game, doesn't he? One way or another. It's just what he does, isn't he?
He has, he'll get the ball away, but he'll also give you good possession. He also I agree. He's brave. He's not scared to play that pass. He doesn't come off. He makes him look silly. He's not bothered about that. He's just thinking about trying to get you forward. You know what I mean? So
I love that.
That's what you want.
To be fair, Zane, may I ask you? Thank you so much. Arsenal fan, I'm guessing, but thank you for the feedback. We appreciate it. Lacker's back. See you at the Emirates. Arsenal 2 wins now. To be fair, on the way back up, Meg, I saw you tweet about it earlier.
They're spoiling all the fun. It's no fun when they win. I want them to stay down there.
Oh yeah, to be fair,
keep your eyes off our managers, Ian.
Nuno's been linked as a replacement for Arteta, and I think Arsenal fans would quite like that. To be fair, but what's your thoughts on Arsenal at the minute, Dad? Because obviously they've been fighting relegation for the last few weeks. But where do you see them being thereabouts?
I think around about halfway, and I think it's becoming over. Not just this season; it's becoming over a few seasons.
Yeah.
Teams get to buy not Highbury, but the Emirates, and they're not frightened anymore. Most teams. I mean, I remember going to the old Highbury. We played Arsenal in I think it's the League Cup, and they put the kids out against us. They beat us 7-0. I'm sitting behind the goals thinking, "Oh my god!" Yeah, that was back in the day. That was the kids we was Championship side.
Yeah,
I do feel like Arsenal are where we were at a few seasons ago, where we had lost that fear factor. Yeah. I feel like we've come out the other side of that a little bit now. We're kind of finding our feet a little bit more, slightly more consistent in positioning, especially with getting top 4 last year. Yeah. Whereas Arsenal are, like Sean just said, there's no fear going to the Emirates.
But it kind of feels like that at Old Trafford, though. Of like,
I mean, what players? If you like, as fans, we've got Arsenal away. What players do you fear?
I'm still so pissed off at that we lost to him.
Who's on the new contract, the big contract?
Aubameyang.
Yeah, he can finish, but he's not in the game half the time. There's no player there before. And back in the day, you had Thierry Henry, Perez, Vieira. You could name you think I'll get them again? You don't say that now. You don't say it.
Zane, again as an Arsenal fan, he's saying that he reckons they're going to get Rodgers and Diego Costa in the summer. Brendan Rodgers, you earlier, in all fairness, we were talking about Ollie as manager and whatnot, and you, to be fair, you were saying you think he's done a decent job.
I think if United should be looking at Brendan Rodgers if Ollie goes or whatever. Is that personally?
Meg, what's your thoughts on that? Ex-Liverpool, that's the only thing
I was going to say, that's the only thing. I think he's a really good manager, and I think what he's done at Leicester is superb. I was surprised when he left Celtic, if I'm honest. I thought, not that he's got cushy up there, but like, it was just before they were going to do like the treble, and I thought he'd have seen it through. But the fact that he came to Leicester, I feel like he's done like a really good job with them. I rate him as a manager. I don't think he'd ever come to Man United, and if he does, then I think he'd lose some fans.
Honestly, I think he would go to United.
I think you back your manager, don't you? I think you do back your manager. But I'm like you, Meg. I can't see it happening because of the Liverpool links. I just can't see it happening.
I wouldn't mind if he came at all. I've got no confidence in being our manager if like that was the option that we had him. But I just don't feel like he would ever come to Manchester United because of his Liverpool past.
It's an interesting one, definitely, but he is definitely a good manager, and I think it's a good shout. Zane says we should fear Saka, Martinelli, and Partey, which you respond to that. Do you think them three players deserve to be feared? I'd say they're, other than Aubameyang, I'd say they're the players I'd be looking at, but are they worth being feared?
No.
There you go.
It's just a no.
I think Saka, I do rate Saka. I mean, he looked like he got injured today, and I was a bit worried, to be fair. I thought he was going to come off, and I thought he was going to stretch it off, but I think he's all right. But I think Saka is a player, definitely for England and the international. I do think he looks like a talent.
He's Arsenal's brightest spark at the moment, definitely.
Yeah, he's like Greenwood ultimately, isn't he? And Martinelli as well, but obviously been injured. But he is their bright spark. I'd agree with that. But
they've probably got good kids coming up as well, coming further ranks. But
just trusting them, isn't it?
At the moment, obviously Arteta, he's fighting for his job, really.
Yeah.
He's probably too frightened to put these kids in.
But to be fair, they beat Chelsea in the week, didn't they? They played a youthful side against Brighton today. I think they played a fairly young side as well. Maybe Arteta's finally seen that this is what he needs to do, because the players that have failed so many managers before, like we keep saying as United fans, they need that you coming through to kind of push them, don't they? But yeah, Lamptey, we spoke about him. I don't know if you've seen him at Brighton, the young right back. What's your thoughts on him? I like the look of him.
Yeah, you've got to give him a good season before you start looking at these players.
Yeah.
Because they have...
But we should be looking at them.
2 months played at Skins, then you don't see them again for ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they've had a great move. So you've got to give them a good 12, 15 months. So...
I agree. This comment made me laugh. One like I couldn't cross his legs. It really frustrates me. We've literally just been saying that. Like,
that's tickled me.
A good comment. I like that, definitely. Right, me and Meg are going to go through rating the players. Dad, I know you've got your shoes off.
Yeah, I'm going to go back now and kick the cat.
If you had a cat, you ain't got a cat, don't worry. You ain't got a cat.
This video is about to be reported.
I want to say a big thanks, obviously, for my dad for coming on. Appreciate it. I would say I'm sorry that we took all 3 points, but I'm not sorry about that. You know,
that game anyway.
Yeah, he's bored about football.
I'm going to watch the darts.
Yeah. Meg, I'm going to leave you just to read through some of the comments. Guys, let us know where you're watching from as well. Just 2 seconds whilst my dad dips, but I'll be back in like literally 2 seconds.
I feel like all pressure's on me now that I'm on my own. What we are going to do, though, is we are going to go through player ratings. So if you want to start dropping yours in, dropping your man of the matches into the comments. I can't put them on the screen, but I will read through them as they come through. That was so quick.
We'll put them on.
You know, I just said to put their ratings in the comments and alongside their man of the matches.
Don't worry, Diego. He definitely wouldn't pick a cat. He's obviously trying to say that he's really annoyed with the result, but he hasn't even got a cat, so don't worry about that. It's definitely not going to happen. And if it was, I would kick him, so don't worry about that. Doug says, not going to lie, I've missed the Liverpool United title race. It looks like this season that could happen. Which player have you got on? I've got Rashford. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I've got Rashford on today.
Of course you got Rashford on. The winner.
Cavani behind me, but you know that always seems to happen. Do you remember when we had Cavani, Rashford, and Martial being the game changers, and I think I had Rashford and Cavani hanging up and Martial on my back, and I was just like, I predicted that. I knew it was going to happen. Rashford, man of the match, according to Shivan. There, Luke Shaw. Right now, I thought Luke Shaw. I mean, we were saying obviously we were concerned about Tellez and whatnot, but I thought Luke Shaw when he came on, he looked positive, and I thought he did well, Meg.
I did. There was, like I said, there was times where, even in the second half, we would look like we were just so slow to do anything.
Yeah.
It was like, you go there, and they were literally got the ball at the feet, and the ball had stopped. And it's so difficult to stop the ball so that, like I said, the Wolves had 5 at the back. You've got to move players around if you're playing 5 at the back to create space. Stopping the ball, you need to just keep the ball, even if it's just 5-yard passing. But yeah, I think he did all right. For me, Bailly's still man of the match, but I did think he was going well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Bailly was clear man of the match, to be honest with you. But I did think Luke Shaw looked positive when he came on. We're going to go through the ratings, guys. As always, joining with the chat, let us know what you think. Obviously, we're going to start with David De Gea. I thought he made a lot of good saves today, if I'm honest. 5 is normally the average rating. I think we can both safely say that David De Gea deserves a more than a 5 rating. I mean, Meg, what kind of figure are you thinking for David De Gea?
7.
7? I think I want to push him even higher than that. I think I'm going to say 7.5. I think some of the saves that him, I think he did really well.
I could probably go higher, but I always start low because then I'm like, oh, but he played really well, so he should be above him. So I feel for David De Gea because you're always the first one up. The goalkeeper's always the first one up. If we did it the other way around, I'd end up giving him an 8 or something. But
yeah,
I can't remember, and if anybody can tell me, there was the one where he literally, you know, when they save it, it's right above them, and they save it, and they kind of like lean back.
Yeah, it was a Soyuz header. Was it a Soyuz header?
I can't even remember, but I just remember looking at the save and thinking that was a 6 save.
Yeah. No, I think like we kept a clean sheet, which is why I pushed him up slightly higher. He hasn't conceded the goal. I thought he put it quite easily, but he made a few good saves.
I love the preciseness. Jack Attacks put 7.3.
By my days. He kept a clean sheet, made some good saves. I think it's hard to. He did well. So yeah, I'm going to say 7.5 for De Gea.
We'll go for 7.5 then.
Yeah. Eric Boye, go on. We'll go straight in for him. I'm going with United. The way that they set it up, I'm reading down that list. What we're going to Eric Boye was class, wasn't he? Again, he got a clean sheet, so it's got to be a high rating. You know what? Actually, Malcolm made a good point. He said, "Give him a 6 to Dharma flattened him." That was embarrassing for me. Like literally, he turned and he touched the Dharma and he's rolling around the floor, like acting like he'd broken his collarbone or something. I thought that was a bit embarrassing. I mean, fair play. Maybe it landed awkward. I don't know what it was, but surely it didn't justify that.
I'm laughing. Sorry, I'm laughing at all the comments now. We've got 7.7, 10.1, 7.9, 7.81, 256, 745. I just love how precise they are. He's got to have a higher.
I think
what are you gonna say?
9. And I know it seems really high, but I was really impressed with him. And I think against the likes of Adama, I just thought he looked comfortable. Like I don't think he ever looked really in doubt. To be honest with you, I thought he did really well, and he looked so composed on the ball, like you mentioned as well. And that's probably I know that seems really really high.
That's you're a full fangirling, Eric Bailly. Like nobody fangirls the centre half. All right, come on, the centre halves.
Again, the chat goes like that. To be fair, we've got a 10.1 there. We've got an 8.9, 7.9, a 7. Look at this for preciseness. I thought we got pie going on. There.
I'm gonna give Bailly a 8.5.
8.5. Take that. Yeah. 8.5. We'll go with your 8.5. Harry Maguire looks so much more comfortable for me with pace alongside him.
Gave a few cheap fouls away for me though today. Yeah. Fouls that could have just been just weren't needed at that time. However, did think again, got a clean sheet, looked comfortable at the back, didn't seem to do anything that was too rash. A 7. What did I give it? Yeah, 7.5 for De Gea.
Yeah, 7.5 for De Gea, 8.5 for Boye, a 7 for Maguire. Pogba's the next one. Twisted, by the way, is getting it right every time. Maguire. Still sticking with that, and I love it. Maguire. Paul Pogba. I think 5 is an average, and I'd have to say I think he had a pretty average game. He had that one good shot, to be fair, which Patricio saved. He made it look easy. He even caught it, and I thought he really caught that shot, to be fair. But other than that, Pogba, did he do a lot for you, Meg?
Like I said, he seems to just play these balls over the top where he almost knows that someone's going to be there. They didn't quite come off. The guy makes playing football look so easy at times.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just the way that he just can ping a ball is ridiculous. I'm going to give him a 6. I feel like a couple of times, I'd always talk about defence, and apologies everyone, because that's always what I'm watching out for. But defensively, there are times where I feel like he could have got back a little bit quicker, and he gave the ball away a couple of times. So I'm going to give him a 6. But the guy makes playing football look too easy for me. It's so good.
Easy, but I think there's sometimes people get annoyed at that because it's almost like he's not trying. Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes it's like, you got so much potential, we need to do more. But I think, like my dad mentioned, to be fair, he was up against a tough midfield with Moutinho and Neves in there. One of the best duos you'd probably say in the league in terms of a midfield partnership. Moutinho always seems to do a job over Pogba for whatever reason. But I wouldn't say he was absolutely rubbish. I would say it was a pretty average game. I think I would say. I'm not slating him. I just don't think he did anything particularly special, but it was a tough game, to be fair, to stand out in. And a lot of people in the chat are saying a 6 as well, and I think I'd probably agree with that. A 6, I think, is a fair judgment. So you're not slating him, but it wasn't anything special. I think we've got the best out of Pogba personally when we played him on the left of more of an attacking formation. I think that suits him more of a kind of freer role rather than being so defensive. But yeah, I just think that it was a pretty average game from him. We've got Cavani up next, Edison Cavani. Again, he didn't have a lot to scrap. He didn't have a lot to feed on. He was scrapping, but fairly quiet game for him, I'd say, Meg.
Quiet. He does work really hard as well, though. I've seen him chasing. He was really deep at one point, though. I think like he was trying to come to find the ball. You know that he liked to make things happen. We saw that with the Bruno goal the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back because my mind's just a mess. That he comes to collect the ball. Yeah, average. People are a 4. I think that's quite harsh.
I agree with this statement here. He didn't have much service. I think he was making runs, but like you mentioned with Rashford being offside, like we kind of delayed the pass. It's like we didn't want to take the risks. And I think we didn't take the risks because we saw the few times that we lost the ball, Wolves counted on them, and that's where Wolves are most dangerous. And I think that's why we were a bit more careful on the ball. We didn't want to give it away. And I think that did help Cavani.
That's why as well, you're saying that he's got no service, and then I'm saying like he's come so deep. It's because he's got no service that then he comes to find the ball.
Yeah.
What are you giving him?
I think I'll probably go with a 5.5. And I know it seems harsh, and I don't think it's really for any fault of his own, to be fair. I think it's just the game just didn't. It was one of them games where it just didn't get up to the centre forward a lot. I mean, I wouldn't argue with a 6 as well, but I feel like Pogba was more involved in the game than what Cavani was.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I'm saying slightly lower. I mean, what were you thinking, Meg?
I was going to be like between a 5 and a 6, so obviously a 5.5 would be fine. But I also understand why people have put a 6 as well.
Yeah.
Because what he did, I just don't think the game kind of matched him today. We didn't get the ball to him enough. We didn't create much for him. He then had to come out of position to come and find the ball.
Yeah. And again, Wolves to credit, to be fair, for how they defended as well. I think they compacted the middle. They didn't allow us to get the ball into him. Didn't get the ball wide to get crosses into the box. Tellers did a few early crosses, but other than that, we didn't really have those balls whipping into the box. So I think, yeah, it was just, like you said, just didn't really suit him today.
No, I think the ball didn't reach him either, so it's not like he was having loads of shots and missing them. The ball didn't even get to him. Yeah,
I agree. And I agree with this comment as well. I love Cavani. I just don't think today was his day. And I think that's as simple as it is. Marcus Rashford up next. He got the winning goal. But his whole performance, Meg, like I say, I think he was one of the bright sparks that we had. And it was frustrating at times, but at the same time, I think he was one of the ones who looked like he had the bit between his teeth, looked like he tried to make stuff happen.
Yeah, didn't give up, continued to make those runs, even though there was timing issues on some of them. Didn't get the ball on others. Again, I talk about that touch that he had in the first half was just unbelievable. don't think he had his best game, but that was his 51st goal for United. He just seems like he's having a good season. You know, he's picking up goals here and there. I'll give him a 7. 6.57? 6.
We're giving Harry Maguire a 7. So for me, I think Rashford deserves to be at least on par with that. So I'd probably say a 7 as well. He's got the winning goal at the end of the day.
He's got the winning goal. Like you can't knock him for that.
He's done his job at the end of the day. He scored the winning goal, got 3 points. That's what you expect him to do. Of course, we know he can do so much more. He wasn't quite as good as Bailly because we've already said he's man of the match. But I do think Rashford, like I say, he was always that bright spark. And he's done his job. So I'm going to say a 7. I think you could even push him up to an 8, to be fair. But I'm going to go with a 7 because I do understand the fact that it was frustrating to watch at times. It wasn't his best game, like you say. But ultimately, he did what strikers need to do and he scored a goal. Next up, we've got Mason Greenwood. Quiet game, I thought.
Quiet. And I feel like he's being found out a little bit on that right-hand side. He wants to get into the box, into the 18-yard box on the corner, a couple of step overs, shift onto his left foot and have a shot from that side. I feel like we might need to switch it up a little bit, perhaps just try and run towards the byline a little bit more. And if he still doesn't want to go on his right foot, at least cut back then and then get a cross in perhaps instead. I'm going to give him a 5.
Average?
Average, yeah, for what he was on there. It was quiet. But again, I didn't think he had a mare. I don't think he was poor. I just think it was really quiet.
I agree with that, and I agree with what someone said there. He's not a winger as well. I don't think he's a winger. We mentioned the other day our private front three would be Rashford, Cavani, and Martial, and I think that still stays for me. I think I prefer Martial being out wide to Greenwood. I think Martial just gives us that bit more. Greenwood for me is a striker, but yeah, it was just a quiet one. I think a 5 average didn't really impact the game too much, as Anders has just said there. Didn't have any real impact, and so I'd agree with that one definitely. Bruno Fernandes next up. What are you thinking, Meg? Obviously, we said he has a fairly poor game, but then he still influences it some way.
He does. I'm going to give him a 6.
6?
6. I'm just going to go with a 6.5. I don't know.
Now, what does he score for you guys? I don't think 6 is a bad shout, to be fair. He didn't have a great game. He was dropping deep as well to get the ball because, like you say, Wolves defended so well, and I think he was dropping a bit deep. But he got another assist. So I think I'm kind of edging slightly higher because he got an assist. So I'm probably going to say a 6.5. And that's me being kind, I know. But it's purely because he got an assist. Because he influenced the game in some way. I think that's why I'm pushing him slightly more. But I agree. I think for his standards, it was a fairly poor game, to be fair. But again, I think Wolves deserve credit. See what people are saying about Bruno. 5 for Bruno. Yeah, he was poor, but he deserves to have a bad game. Of course he does. I'm not getting on his back or anything like that. Wolves aren't an easy game. We knew going into this game it was going to be a tough one. And it was. But he still manages to influence it. He still manages. Bruno should have scored quite by standards of 6. I think I'd agree with that. He should have scored, to be fair. What's your take on that chance early on, Meg? I think it was Greenwood with a little clip ball in. It was kind of, wasn't it?
I think he was under pressure to take it. Under pressure when the cross came in and the ball actually reached him with the defender. I think the goalkeeper's positioning was really good. He kind of tracked the ball, and if he'd have put it anywhere else, it would have been a goal. But because the keeper was literally in the perfect position to save it, he took it quite weirdly for me. I thought originally he did it with his left foot, but he hadn't. He kind of poked it with his right. Yeah. It was a great cross as well. It's a nice delivery of the ball, but I think it's a difficult.
Yeah. I'm going to go 6.5 for Bruno. Doug's finished work. Good to hear, Doug. Hope it wasn't too bad. I'm glad you finished. Tell us, Meg, obviously off at half-time. We think it's an injury that's caused that change. But what did you think about his first 45 minutes? How do you think he did?
Some of the... Without Bruno, we go to a draw.
Agree with that.
Potentially. Again, average.
So
not like...
Twisted point measure.
I think that was a bit harsh. I think it was just average.
I think a 5 average, like you say.
Yeah.
An average performance. Not a lot to say about it, to be honest with you. The most worrying thing is the lack of intensity in the game. That is so. Yeah, I agree. We didn't team up. I mean, we have got a lot of games in a short spell of time, and understand that. But we did seem so half-assed. Everything was so slow, everything so passive, and that's what's frustrating to me. I don't know if you felt the same, Meg, but the tempo was just so slow, wasn't it?
Cool.
For average, for Tellers a 5. Wan-Bissaka, Meg, we already kind of scrutinised him a little bit earlier, but what score would you give him out of 10?
5 again. I think an average. He's so frustrating because he is so good defensively. When you rarely do you see somebody get past him.
Yeah.
I can understand the difference here. You got a 4 and a 6, and I get it, because if you look at him going forward, you'd knock points off, but actually defensively, he's so good.
I think I'd say an average game for him. An average game. Like, he didn't play bad, but going forwards, I think he's frustrating. And I think 5, maybe even a 5.5. I wouldn't go any higher than that, really, for him. I think he just had an average game. I mean, Meg, do you think that's harsh, a 5.5?
No. That's harsh.
Let's go for that 5.5. And then Matic.
I think he played well.
I think he did well.
I think he secured that midfield up a little bit more, screened the defence well. I'll go for a 6.5.
I'm going to go for a 7.
Yeah, 6.5, 7.
I think he did well.
We'll go for a 7. We'll be kind on him.
Yeah, I mean, we give him Rashford a 7, who obviously got the winning goal. So I think to give Matic a 7, I think is a fair score, because I think he played really well. I think he showed it up in the middle. A few times you saw Adama trying to get a run on him, and Matic's experience just paid through. Positionally, he was just in the right place. And I think he played really well. I think you could even probably push him up to an 8, to be fair, but we've only given Boye an 8.5, so I'm not going to do that. But I do think that Matic probably, other than Boye, I'd say was our next best player. So he just did really well. And obviously De Gea made some good saves as well, but I think Matic played really well. And a lot of people don't like to say that because he's not a glamorous player. He's not going to play he's not going to have a worldie. He's not going to play worldie passes. He's not going to run past players. But I think he's positionally sound on the ball. Is tidy. And he just does a job for us in the middle. We're going to quickly blast through the subs. So obviously Luke Shaw came on at half time. When he came on, Meg, I thought he looked good.
Yeah. I'm going to give him a 6.5.
Yeah. You know what? It's hard to. I think when he came on, looked good. I think a 6.5 is a fair. I mean, we're giving obviously Bruno that. So yeah, 6.5 I think is a fair. Someone said he pocketed Troy over there. I want to share to that United family. I'm guessing that's Emma and Carl. Go and subscribe to their channel, guys. Obviously, Emma, part of Ladies in Red. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're buzzing with that result, as I am, definitely. I wasn't expecting it, though, at all, but I'll take it. Martial, Meg?
Didn't do much.
Still think he got on the ball more than what Greenwood did, though. In less time, I think.
Yeah.
So I'll probably say for Martial, maybe a 6.
Yeah, I think that would be fair. I think it's difficult because I feel like Wolves made it so difficult for players to be in the game.
Yeah.
I don't think no one player for United took the game by the scruff of the neck. But I do feel like more credit to Wolves rather than the fact that our players were poor. I do think we were slow in the first half, but I just feel like Wolves made it more difficult than the fact that then our players were poor.
Yeah. I think you saw one point Martial did that little weaving run in the box, and all he needed to do for me was just to toe it. I think it's to Bruno, who was just square of him, and he tried to beat one more man and lost it. And I think just decision making, but that happened all night, not just with Martial across the board. I think our final ball was disappointing. But yeah, I think a 6 is probably fair. Someone put a 7 there. I just feel like he got on the ball more than what Greenwood did. There you go, Leah. And Greenwood had an average game. I don't think he was out of this world, Martial. He was just slightly better. So I'm going to say a 6 for him. And then McTominay came on. I mean, it's hard to even score McTominay, isn't it, to be fair?
I was going to say, this is dead difficult. He came on for, a couple of minutes?
Yeah.
So I'll just give him a 5.
Yeah, just an average because we can't say a lot. But yeah, man of the match for me was definitely Eric Boye. I'm guessing, Meg, you agree with me on that one as well. Eric Boye was man of the match. But I do think Matic was fairly close behind him. And then in third place, I'd probably put De Gea, to be fair. But you know what? A win's a win. sometimes you have to win ugly. We did that tonight. We could be sitting here now discussing a draw or even worse, a loss. So I'm actually grateful for the fact that we've got a win. But I'm under no illusion that the performance is good enough and we need to improve. Villa's going to be a very, very tough one. I mean, looking forward to that Villa game, Meg. What's your predictions going into that?
I think it's another team that are on form, as we are. I think it's difficult. They probably, I probably didn't expect them to be as where they are now, because at the end of last season, they were, towards relegation. They were fighting a little bit, in Project Restart, they were still having to try and get points to save themselves.
Yeah.
Now look at them. They've got games in hand and they're fifth. Are they fifth?
You know what? I don't even know where Villa are at the minute. I know they're up there though. Probably.
I think it'll be a really difficult game.
It will.
A really difficult game. I probably say that all the time. If you go back to the videos, I'm like, that's going to be a difficult game. But I do. I think it's. Yeah, we are fifth. So they are fifth. They've got games in hand. They're on this form of not conceding, really.
Yeah. Difficult
to break down. Ollie Watkins the other night couldn't buy a goal. What's the betting that he buys a couple off us?
He's been unlucky on a few though, where VAR's called it ever offside, where he's been like a toenail offside and stuff. He has been a bit unlucky, hasn't he? Getting in the areas, like you say, I think it's a matter of time before he does bag. Happy 2021 to you as well, can I just say? But he says, happy 2021, ladies. Hope your dad's okay, Soph. You must be devastated. Poor game, but 3 points badly needed. Need more goals to score. I saw someone else saying they imagined me jumping up and down, find that, and my dad with his head in his hands. That's pretty much what happened, to be fair. I didn't jump up and down. I was just like guessing as you normally do. I looked at my dad and he was just like this. I wasn't expecting it. I think the goal kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? Like I just wasn't expecting it to happen. We forgot to rate Ollie, so we'll get on Ollie, Meg, as manager. How do you rate him after this one?
I think he was forced into the first sub.
Yeah.
Difficult to make a second sub because I think it was so close. And then made one just for time wasting. In terms of the starting 11, what did he bring? Pogba and Matic in, didn't they?
Yeah.
But did start Cavani. So I'm glad that he started Cavani because I feel like it was time for him to get a start. I'll give him a 6.5 because I also think we've actually beaten Wolves. Wolves are a bogey team.
Yeah, we got a win, so it has to be above average, surely, because we got the win. So Tristy said, "My dad looks very red." Was he okay? But one might be stressed, but two, it is very hot to be fair. But yeah, probably stressed to be honest with you. But yeah, I think it beat Wolves, like you mentioned. We got a clean sheet. We got the 3 points, which is the most important thing, especially at this stage through this Christmas period. So I think you have to go more than an average. I think I'd probably say a six for Ollie, because their performance wasn't amazing. But we got the result ultimately, and that's what matters. But going to Villa, someone mentioned Ollie Watkins in the chat as well, saying that he will score eventually. I do feel that way. I'm hoping.
They've got others as well. They've got like El Ghazi,
Greenish
is in there.
McGinn's strike against Chelsea was so unlucky, by the way, when he hit like the corner of the post in the bar. He's got that in his locker. It's definitely going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a tough one. But I think one thing for certain is we need to play better than we did tonight. Definitely.
Got to play more pace against them.
Yeah, we need to
not do what we did in the first half against Villa.
I completely agree. But you know what? We've got enough quality going forwards, and I'm pretty sure we can score enough goals against Villa to get the win. I'm confident that we'll get the win. But like I say, if we are going to do that, we need to play better because we simply weren't good enough tonight. We rolled our luck a bit and we scraped it at the end with a goal. Bruno assist as usual. But like we mentioned, result is more important than performance right now. But you can't ride your luck for every game, can you, Meg? Like we need to improve definitely. And hopefully we do unleash Donny at some point, definitely. Guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone tuning in. I'm wishing everybody a happy 21. Obviously, wishing you health, happiness, plenty of smiling faces, and much better than what it's been on in 2020. Surely it's got to be better than 2020. But I want to say thank you to everyone who's tuned in throughout the year. Like, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you guys. The community that we've built, I think, has been fantastic, and I'm sure Meg would agree with me on that one as well. In the new year, we're going to constantly be pushing Ladies in Red a lot more, getting back on that as well. Me and Meg providing a lot more content, obviously with the men's, but also with the women's as well. Plenty of plans coming up, exciting plans, but I want to wish you all well and say a massive thank you to everybody. If you are new as well, please do hit the sub as well. George is saying happy 21 title confirmed. Do not listen to me, but if that turns out, then obviously I'm buzzing. But no, in all seriousness, football aside for the second, obviously I wish everyone health and happiness. It's been a tough year for everybody. At least we can smile about United at the minute because we haven't been able to do that for a long time. And I want to say obviously a special thanks to Meg as well for joining me because she's always fantastic, as I'm sure you guys would agree as well. Please hit the sub button, guys. Hit the like button. Please do it. And obviously, Meg, let people know where they can find you as well.
You can find me here. I never know which side I'm on. At Megan Cam with an underscore. Thank you to everyone who's shown us support throughout this year. I feel like we've gone from strength to strength this year. We've had time to invest in the channel. I'm hopeful that it continues. Obviously, we might not have as much time next year because hopefully we'll get into back to normality. But we will keep bringing content. So for now, I've got a discussion, a bit of a plan of action about what we're going to bring out to you. Like Soph said, both the men's team and the women's team, ladies in red. We've got more stuff coming your way. I hope everyone has. Meg's smile looks like Alvin the Chipmunk. Woo! That really just distracted me as I was mid-flow. This is my speech. No interruptions. I have got like proper golf ball teeth. But I hope everyone has a lovely new year. Probably celebrating everybody's lounges because that's where I'm spending mine. But wish you all both most health and happiness for 2021.
Definitely. Thank you to absolutely everybody. If you're interested for more content, I will be live on Twitch on ECL Gaming, who sponsor these shows, for my first FIFA stream on Thursday, midday, starting a United career mode. So obviously, if you do want some extra content during lockdown or whatever, feel free to come and join me there and have a laugh at my FIFA skills. I'm sure it'll be entertaining anyway, one way or another. But come and join me there. I'll do a tweet anyway later on. But yeah, go and follow Meg. She's fantastic. Go and follow Emma, who's in the chat as well. Of course, following Nicole. She's on Instagram at the minute. Trying to get Nicole back with us. I'm sure she will come back at some point. But yeah, this year has been tough. It's been tough, but finding the ladies in red has been fantastic. And I'm definitely taking the positives from that. And like Meg says, onwards and upwards for the channel. Couldn't do it without you guys though in the chat, so we really appreciate it. Keep smiling, guys. Stay positive, and we'll be back very, very soon. Take care, guys. Cheers.